Welcome to the VŌC Podcast.
Good afternoon, and welcome to a brand new episode of the VŌC Podcast. Well, this Wesker thing is really not for me. Today I'll be talking to professional voice actor Peter Jessop, who's the voice of Albert Wesker in Resident Evil 1 HD Remaster. But you guys also might have heard him in perhaps Red Dead Redemption 2, where he played some of the local pedestrian, or even in Destiny 2, where he voiced Exo-Male, and in thousands of other stuff. Welcome to the show, Peter. Thank you so much for coming on.
Glad to be here.
Well, I would like to ask you, what got you into voice acting and acting in general?
Acting in general started when I was a kid, doing theater in high school, and decided that I really enjoyed it. Felt like I had a knack for it. So I auditioned for the university theater department, got in. And then when I was done with school, I thought, well, I'll try and pursue it as a career. The way I got into voice acting was I came to Los Angeles to do a sitcom, and I got hit by a car.
Good God.
Oh, and they turned my character into a voiceover. Yeah. So
is that how it started? The voiceover?
That's how voiceover started. Yeah. I had done
Good
some
God.
voiceover before that,
Mhm.
Commercials or industrial films and things like that. But
Okay.
I kind of messed my face up at the time. This is, again, 30 years ago.
Hmm.
And thought, well, I can still do voiceover. So
Yeah, and I think you're still doing voiceover to this day.
I'm still doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't seem like you want to stop anytime soon.
Well, why would I? It's the coolest job in the world.
And
So,
what are you up to nowadays?
nowadays, I am developing and producing a new animated series called New Wave. That's what I've been working on mostly. And obviously, I'm still doing other voiceover stuff. I'm doing a couple of interactive properties that I can't talk about because we signed. But
Yeah, NDAs, yeah.
you've heard of them. So, and yeah, so that's what I'm doing these days.
Okay, I see. And I think you might have thought that this moment might come, and Resident Evil questions.
Yes. Lay 'em
So,
on me.
do you remember voicing for Resident Evil? That's a stupid question, but
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was one of the earliest. It was the first cinematic video game.
Yeah,
If
I think that
makes
was
sense,
yeah, it does. Yeah, that was in 2002-ish something.
It was 2002, and
Mhm.
it was it had cutscenes where we had it was like little
Mhm.
animated film scenes,
Yeah.
which people really hadn't started doing yet. It was all pretty much over the shoulder or God's eye view kind of
Yeah.
blow stuff up. And once you finished whatever the section was, suddenly there's a scene where you're talking to Jill, or you're talking to Barry, or you're talking to Chris. And
Yeah.
it's, that was really novel at the time.
That was in 2002, but the game got re-released in 2015 and got more HD. I'm not sure if you went back to re-record your lines or not.
We didn't have to. They had everything done. They had all the sound files.
Mm-hmm.
They did have a nice little launch event that we got to go to. Joe White and I went, and it was Chris Redfield.
Yeah.
And got to go meet some of the fans, and I bought my son an umbrella. They had some umbrellas for sale.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got to get that. So
Yeah, of course. What was the audition process like for Resident Evil?
that wow, that was quite a while ago. That was because we actually recorded it in 2001. When it came out in 2002.
Yeah.
So that was 20 years ago. As far as I remember, my agent at the time got a call from a casting director, and they said, here are a bunch of different characters. Who do you think would be good for them? And they called me in and said, could you read for this one? And I looked at Wesker and thought it through and did it. So That was the audition process.
Mm.
Yeah. When we started recording the game, I didn't know I was the bad guy.
Oh.
They didn't give us the whole story up front. So I just thought, oh, I'm the team leader.
Oh,
You know,
okay. I see.
I'm the commander. So I was a commander.
Yeah.
Which is why you don't really get the hint that I'm evil until now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you did great. Was there like a specific accent you went for in Wesker's perspective or character?
No, I think I just went for sort of a calm, cool commander tone. And as the character developed and, you know, other guys took over the role.
Yeah.
He sort of got bigger because you already know he's the bad guy. So he can just go ahead and be the bad guy now.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun to watch happen.
Yeah. So I believe you have also seen the game itself. Have you played it?
I have. I mean, it's been, again, 20 years. I had the little 2 discs that you pop in and out of your GameCube, and but yeah, it was great. The sometimes the locked camera would throw me off, but
same here.
It was still new at that point, so it was because everything was cool. That was just super cool.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing about voicing Wesker? That's a hard question.
That's kind of stumped me. Yeah. Favorite thing. I don't know. I think when I learned that I was going to be turning into this huge monster, that was a great twist. And that was kind of exciting. It's like, oh, I'm the bad guy. Okay, let's lean into that. And that was a lot of fun. So
did you have the opportunity to improvise kind of?
No.
Okay.
No, there was no improvising. We had to stick to the script.
Okay.
And you know, it was written in Japanese originally, and then translated into English.
Yeah.
By Japanese translators. So some of the translations were a little awkward. And if there was a sentence that I couldn't make sense of, I would ask the director, you know, can we switch a couple of the words around to make it sound more American? And he was always pretty cool about that.
Well, most of the players kind of disliked the acting, but you know, the translation itself had a lot to do with it because, you know, you guys are obviously professionals. So yeah, would you reprise the role if you were asked?
Yeah, of course I would.
It's been a while since you did the character itself. Were there any plans for you to make an appearance again as Wesker?
Once the game had launched and it was done, I believe Capcom went to Canada to do the next 2. And so they used Canadian actors for that. And when they came back, I'm not sure what exactly was going on, but I do remember getting a call from DC Douglas. And because we've been friends for, you know, ages. And he said, listen, I just got an audition. They want me to try and blend these 2 different characters. And one of them is you. Are you okay with that? And I was like, of course I'm okay with that. Yeah. So so that's what DC did, is he combined the 2 of us, me and was it Richard? Who took over Wesker for the next 2 games?
It was Richard Waugh.
It was Richard Waugh, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what they did was they sent him a tape of Richard and a tape of me, and they're very different characters. And so he sort of tried to, you know, split the difference between those 2, and I thought he did a great job.
I mean, when it comes to Wesker's character, to me personally, you guys almost all sound the same. Almost. I mean, DC was really able to capture the tone of Richard and you, so he did a great job.
Well, that's what I meant. He really combined the 2 of us into one great character, so that was perfect.
Yeah, but I personally noticed a slight British accent in his Wesker.
That's because I think Richard did a little bit of that. That was, I think, part of what the Richard flavor to Wesker added to it.
Okay. Do you have any favorite roles or projects that you have worked on?
I really liked Fallout 4.
Hmm.
That was good. I was Paladin Danse in that. And if you really play out the Paladin Danse storyline, there's a lot of really cool character development that goes on. And that was fun because you don't normally get that in a video game.
Yeah. There's a question from Justin Riley. I am an aspiring actor, and I'd really love to hear how he got started, or like what should you do if you want to get into acting, or how to get or apply for auditions. Anything about how to get started. I'm incredibly passionate about this, and I'm tired of hearing just keep working at it and go to auditions, because I have no idea how to even get auditions.
Well, that's the trick. And especially now that COVID is kicked in,
Yeah.
You know, it used to be there were casting directors and casting agents that you could go to, and they had offices, and you'd show up at their office and you would audition in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a voiceover audition, they had a booth and you'd go in and they'd have a booth director and you'd audition that way.
Yeah.
If it was for on-camera stuff, you'd go in, they'd have a video camera set up and you'd do your piece live in front of them. And then so I don't know how you get into those anymore. Back when I was breaking in, and everybody goes through the same problem, it's a question of your location. If you are in Los Angeles or New York, there will be auditions you can do. You can look up, there's a magazine called Backstage, and then out here we have Backstage West. And it lists projects that are going on. You can do theater, you can do plays, you can shoot your own content. You know, that's a lot of people are getting in that way. You know, write yourself a script, get a friend with a good, iPhone or Android camera on it, and shoot a little short film, post it, and get people to pay attention and notice it. And that's how you can catch the eye of somebody who can bring you in for casting.
Oh yeah. Get an agent, perhaps. Yeah.
That's the trick. And getting an agent is not easy. It's a one-way street, really. I wouldn't know how to do it today, quite honestly. If I had to go out and find a new agent today, well, I could probably do it because I've been doing this for so long that most of them know who I am. But if I were just starting out today, I wouldn't know how to go about getting an agent. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have like a demo reel, right?
Yeah, but it's really old. I haven't updated it in a long time, mainly because I haven't needed to.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a great team that I work with who know what I do. And so when auditions come in for the kind of stuff that they think I can handle, they just send it to me.
Okay.
So, but again, that takes years and years of working with people before they get to that point. So.
Yeah, I believe you. When did you start it out?
I got my SAG card in 1989.
Well, that was quite a while ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and you've been in the industry ever since.
Yeah.
Have you considered stopping at one point?
Oh, I'm sure I will at some point, but it's still fun. There's still interesting stuff out there. I've had this passion project that I've been working on. I mentioned it earlier, that I've been working on for the last 3 years to put together a new animated series. And I think I'm going to really sort of put a lot of my effort into that. So, and we can talk about that later.
Yes. So what is your what do you do for this animated show? Are you a producer or?
I'm producing it. I co-wrote it. It's about a rock band. So there's music in the episodes. I worked with some professional rock musician friends of mine, and we wrote songs for the show. I cast it, and I'm going to be doing one of the characters. So.
Yeah. Well, personally, I think it's very interesting. I think we can get into it a bit more deeply. Is there like a trailer or anything so far?
Well, we've got we did a concept video for what the opening would be like with the theme song. It's a minute long.
This is it. This is our chance. This is the 1980s. Nothing's gonna stop us.
This is gonna be so awesome!
So are we going to play the song now?
We're gonna play all night and day. Get out of the way, we gotta get a move on. We've got plans, gonna take a stand. Gonna start a band, we're calling it the Neutron. You can see what we want you to see. You can see us on your TV. Please, oh please, eventualities like bruises on your knees and falling on the dance floor. This is it, never gonna quit, gonna get a hit, that's what you take a chance for. You can see what we want you to see, you can see us on your TV.
Well, that went better than I expected.
Where did this idea came from?
The idea initially came from, and I've had this idea since the 90s. It's about a band in the new wave scene in the 1980s. And it was always one of those sort of, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do a show about that? And the big sticking point for me was I wanted to have I wanted every episode to have an original song. And I thought, how do you get an original song? Do I, contact hip young bands and have them write stuff? And then a couple of years ago, I met this guy who also does voiceover, who was David Bowie's guitar player and was Iggy Pop's guitar player for years. And we started talking about it, and we had the same stories of being in struggling bands in the early 80s. And it was really kind of funny that I told the story. It's like, oh, that happened to me too, and that's what really got me motivated to start writing it. So called a buddy of mine from college that I've known for years, and we sat down and we wrote out the pilot script and a couple of other scripts and sort of put the idea of the show together. And I think it's kind of cool. But the whole thing is set up. We've got the production art is done. We've got an amazing cast.
Yeah, I have seen the people that you have on, such as like Courtney Taylor, I think.
Courtney Taylor, Yuri Lowenthal, Carolina Ravassa.
Yeah. When do you think this animated series might get done?
Well, if we can raise the money to produce the pilot, that should take, honestly, with everything in place, shouldn't take more than 6 to 8 months to get it animated. It's not that long of an episode.
Yeah.
And then, people can see that. And hopefully we can generate some interest from one of the streamers or from a broadcast network and get it on Netflix or HBO or one of those, and start producing other episodes. So hopefully within the next year or two, we'll have a full-fledged series going, which would be really great, so.
Yeah, if you guys feel like you would want to support this animated series of Peter, then you can go to the Kickstarter page, which we'll include in the description, and feel free to donate. So you voice one of the characters.
Yes.
Have you started like recording anything for him yet?
No, I mean we've put together the character to people know who they are and what their characters are going to be. So we know basically what they're going to sound like, and the cast that we've put together, I trust them all implicitly. I mean, I was talking to Kari Walgren about her character, and she said, well, what kind of voice do you want me to do? And I said, honestly, do whatever your instinct tells you to do, because, she's Kari Walgren. Come on. She's going to make the right choice.
Of course.
So, I think that's a big part of any successful project, is what everybody else brings to it as well.
Yeah. Have you considered getting on Cameo? You know what Cameo is?
Somebody talked to me about that a while back, and I tried to sign up, and I couldn't figure it out. Now, I'm also, middle-aged, so a lot of this stuff is beyond my grasp. I'm not really that tech savvy. But yeah, I'd be happy to do cameos for people if they were interested.
Yeah,
I just couldn't figure out how to sign up I can sign up as somebody who can buy a cameo from somebody, but I couldn't figure out how to put myself in there as somebody who would sell a cameo.
It's a bit complicated.
Yeah.
So do you remember like anything from Wesker's vocabulary, like a favorite line or something?
Well, I talk about this in every interview about Wesker. My favorite line from the entire Resident Evil series was, "Don't be a hard dog to keep under the porch, Barry."
No, that wasn't part of our deal.
Like I said,
But it's not necessary to destroy stars.
don't be a hard dog to keep under the porch, Barry.
Because I didn't know what it meant.
I mean,
And I came out of the booth and I said to the director, I said, I don't understand this. What does it mean? And he's like, well, it's a very common American phrase. And I was like, and he was a Japanese director. And I was like, not in the part of America where I live. I've never heard this. And basically what it means is don't make it difficult for me to control you.
Okay.
Don't fight it. I'm in charge, kind of a phrase, but don't be a hard dog to keep under the porch. And I loved that line so much because it's
memorable.
It's memorable, but it also, to me, it encapsulated the sort of language gap, the cultural gap between the creators and realizing it in another country.
Yeah. Have you took any inspiration from previous Albert Wesker voices for the voice?
No, I had not heard. There was only the one. I think.
One. Yeah.
And I had never actually played the game before.
Oh,
when I got cast.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about the game, so which is why I didn't know I was the villain.
Okay. Yeah, of course. So Capcom didn't want to like sound specifically as the actor before. Okay.
No, I think they went just like they put
new
together
direction.
a whole separate cast to give it a cinematic feel.
I think they really chose the right actors for the characters. Personally.
Yeah.
Do you know the other actors actually?
I know Joe,
Mm-hmm.
Joe White, who was Chris.
Yeah.
And in the remake that I did, I think he's the only one I actually know personally.
Okay.
But as far as the subsequent Resident Evils, I know a lot of the folks in that. Courtney and I are good friends. DC and I are friends.
Matthew? Mercer, perhaps?
Oh yeah, Matt Mercer. Yeah.
Are you okay with like saying lines as Wesker? If I give you
Most
like
of
a
them.
line, is that a
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, go for it.
the human race requires judgment?
Now, was that Monster Wesker or was that regular Wesker?
That was Monster Wesker, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be more like the human race requires judgment.
Yeah. So was it hard like to I mean, I'm sure you had the Japanese writers in your headphones, right? So how was the
Yeah, I
experience?
could talk to we had a director come over from Japan to work with us. Yeah.
So how was the experience with working with Capcom at that time?
They were pretty cool, actually. We did they did early facial capture. So not actual face. They put a camera in our face while we did our lines. So that they could watch, the mouth movements and things like that and the expressions on the faces. But I never take my sunglasses off, so I didn't really have to do my eyes.
Okay. So you actually
Wesker's got his sunglasses on the whole time.
Can you also say you're merely postponing the inevitable? That's normal, Wesker.
You're merely postponing the inevitable.
Have you heard like DC's Wesker actually?
Not so much.
Okay.
I am a gamer. I'm not really a horror gamer. I tend to go for much more prosaic kind of stuff. I do like Minecraft or No Man's Sky, where you can just sort of wander around and play with stuff.
So do you also do music?
I do. Yeah.
Do you play instruments?
Yeah, I play guitar, a little bit of viola, and I sing.
Okay, so vocals too.
Yeah.
Do you have like a band?
In a sense, I'm in a two-man duo.
Okay.
And we've written and recorded some stuff, but mostly it's been for the animated project. So, and I was in bands, back in high school and college and that sort of thing. So,
When did you start with with music? Was it before acting, or
long before acting? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I had piano lessons as a kid and violin lessons, and then switched to viola. And then played bass guitar in a band, and then was the singer in a band.
How did you prepare yourself mentally for the role of Wesker?
I think pretty much the same way of any other session. You make sure that you're focused, you make sure your voice is warmed up, and it helps to make character choices, whether they work or not is up to the director. But as long as you have something in your mind that you this is the way the guy thinks, this is the way the guy's going to act, that's the sort of preparation you do.
Do you speak like any other languages?
Not well enough.
Okay.
I speak a little German, a little French, and a little Spanish, but not enough to,
Okay, I see. So the kind of basic stuff.
I took a semester of Russian in college, but I can only remember one phrase. So.
Okay, I see. What about accents and dialects in English?
Yep. Yeah, I do a lot of different dialects.
Perhaps can you tell us about a few?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much most of the American regional stuff, English regional stuff. There are different English socioeconomic dialects, and then there are accents, like Irish accents and Scottish accents and Welsh accents, because they're actually based on the influence of a different language. So if someone has a French accent when they speak English, it's because they're being influenced by French. So that's the difference between a dialect and an accent.
Okay, that's a pretty cool fact.
Yeah.
What do you think is the key to a good Southern accent? I mean, dialect.
Well, the main thing about good Southern dialect is that a lot of people think they don't say the letter R in the South, and they do. There's nobody down here who talks like Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, because that's just not a thing, My dear, nobody says that.
Yeah.
So,
that's kind of more kind of slides into British, or is it just me?
I think it's a British idea of what a Southern accent sounds like. And 125 years ago, that's how it sounded, but it does not anymore. So
yeah, I mean, people were moving from place to place.
I think partly that. I think partly too is there was a desire in the American theatrical community to sound more sophisticated. And to Americans, any English dialect sounds sophisticated to some Americans. I will always remember this. In college, we had these three, what we would call yabos in the UK. Where three Cockney guys come over, right? And they're about as Whitechapel-y as you can get. They're from East London, super heavy Cockney accents. And the girls across the hall were like, oh my gosh, that's so classy. And it was the most working class urban dialect on the face of the planet. And I just chuckled at that one,
Yeah. You're also in Back for Blood, yeah?
Am I in Back for Blood?
Well, your IMDb page says so.
Which
There
one
is
Back
no
for Blood.
Back for Blood. Well, it's a zombie game.
Oh,
I mean, you have it on your IMDb page. It doesn't
it doesn't say who I played though, does it?
It doesn't say who you played. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I may have just been zombies in that.
Okay. So you also do like creature, voices? Sounds?
Not that's not really my specialty. There are a couple of guys here in town, like D. Bradley Baker and John Lapau, who do outstanding creature voices. And I'm happy to give them that niche.
Okay, of course. What is your personal opinion on the character of Wesker?
On the character of Wesker?
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, I think he's evil.
Yeah.
He's a megalomaniac, and I think it's incumbent upon everyone who plays the games to kill him if you can.
Yeah. And actually
That's what
that
I
happened in Resident Evil 5. Yeah.
So
After a long journey of trying to kill Wesker, he was
Yeah.
finished. Yeah. Can you say as Wesker, I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to remember all of this. Every day, humans come one step closer to self-destruction. I'm not destroying the world. I'm saving it.
and that's Monster Wesker.
Well, that's kind of a normal
transitional.
Wesker.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Here we
say
go.
that.
Every day, humans come one step closer to self-destruction. I'm not destroying the world. I'm saving it.
As you said, the key behind Wesker's voice was the commander tone that you did. But is there anything else that perhaps impersonators should know?
Well, I think part of what makes Wesker's personality when he's just team leader Wesker is he's the team leader, and he's got that authority in his voice. He's the boss, so chill, you stay here. Chris, you and I are going to check this room out. Okay,
Exactly.
boss. That's just what he does because that's his job.
Well, yeah.
So
And then he turns out to be evil.
yes, a horrible monster.
It wouldn't be Wesker if he wouldn't be evil, unfortunately.
Exactly.
You also voiced Exomale in Destiny 2 and in Destiny,
Yep, Destiny first and then Destiny 2. And now actually I'm the only male player character voice. They have I'm doing all the male characters, Exo, Awoken, and Human. And they've got Zara Fazal doing all the female voices now.
Okay. Can you perhaps showcase how these male characters sounds like?
Well, they sound sort of like this. When you're a guardian, you don't really speak much. And when you do, it has to have a lot of meaning. So that's the Exo voice, which is now the everybody voice, I'm afraid. So,
I mean, not everybody, I guess. You have the role. I mean,
no, I'm saying it's the voice for any player character.
Yeah.
So,
I get it now. Are you
which
also
freaked me out because I play Destiny 2 and I did the first section when they loaded in it was the last expansion. And I'm playing as I have an Awoken character and it's my voice. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I mess this up somehow? Because they hadn't told me that I was just the male player character voice now. So I didn't know. I surprised myself.
So you also were in Red Dead Redemption 2 and you did some local pedestrian voices over there. And I haven't personally, just heard your voice, but if you could show us what you did, that'd be cool.
Oh, I think some of the lines are like super simple, like everybody coming here tramping on my grass, staying out of my yard. That was Red Dead, like local homeowner guy who's complaining about people walking in his, yeah. And that was just because they had called up and said, hey, do you want to come in and record? And I was like, yeah.
What directions did you get?
None. Got no direction. They just let me come in and do my thing. And then they just sort of,
So
yeah, that was just fun.
But did they tell you like they wanted you to be Southern at least or something? Anything?
No, it's a Western show. So it had that sort of old country Western feel to it.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So you guys can follow Peter.
It's at Dad Jessop, Jessop.
And the New Wave Instagram, which is
the_new_wave. Neutrons, Newtrons.
And you guys can also follow him on Twitter, which is?
At Jessop Peter.
Is there anything Wesker has to say about the VŌC Podcast?
Of all the podcasts, the VŌC Podcast is the most VŌC.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with reality. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and
it's been a pleasure.
I hope that perhaps in the future I will have the opportunity to get you on again.
That would be great.